So I'm here in Mission Hills in San Diego, not too far from San Diego Old Town, at the Calvary Cemetery. And this is a late 19th century cemetery built here in the 1870s, just on the edge of town. And it illustrates a couple of interesting features that I think are worth talking about and looking at. The first is the value of historical cemeteries as historical evidence. These are great places anywhere in the United States, but certainly in California, to look back into the past and to read the names, to read the dates of birth and death, to begin to understand something about the social history of a place. Cemeteries can tell you about lifespans. It can tell you about marriages. It can tell you about cultural intermixtures. It can tell you about the emotions of people who lived in the past based on the inscriptions that family members left on the headstones of those they loved. It can tell you about social class, those who were able to purchase headstones and those who were not, and thus whose names don't get recorded or don't get left in perpetuity behind. It can also tell us about the patterns of social intermixture and cultural heritage of a place. That's especially true at Calvary Cemetery here, because this cemetery, which was laid out in the 1870s, has the burial places of a number of people who lived in San Diego in the Mexican period. And so we can read from the stones that remain here some of the features of that society. One of the things that we know about Mexican-era San Diego is that this was a place that was connected to the remainder of the world through global trade networks, and that in the 1830s and 40s, a growing number of foreigners began to settle in Mexican California, foreigners who were U.S. citizens. Many of those people in the 1820s and 30s and 40s began to marry into California society and to establish mutually beneficial partnerships for both of those families. And we can see some evidence of that as we read here. We can see a stone reflecting the marriage of Cave Johnson Couts, an American from the southeast, and Isadora Bandini de Couts, a California young woman from the Bandini family, which was a prominent family in Old Town San Diego. The Maron family, the Arguellos, the Castillos, the Osuñas are here, and there are other marriages of a similar kind that we can read here. Juanita Wrightington, in the memory of Maria Guadalupe de Smith, and Maria Victoria de Ames, who's over there. And so we can begin to read from this very landscape something about the society that produced these people and in which these people lived. Of course, a lot had changed by the late 19th century, but at some point in their lives, early in their lives, these young people chose to make partnerships, cross-cultural partnerships in Mexican California. That is a legacy of Mexican California for today. California is a multicultural, multi-religious, and multiracial society, which it is today, and in which it was in the early to mid-19th century. So here we are, Mission Hills, Calvary Cemetery, San Diego.